From Washington, this is VOA News. Police use force to remove Hong Kong protesters. Worries grow over the spread of Ebola. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. Hong Kong police have removed protesters from a major thoroughfare outside government headquarters. Police used power tools early today to dismantle barricades set up by demonstrators. Several were arrested. Police say protesters can remain, but they must not block traffic or the tram lines that run through the middle of the street. The head of the UN Ebola mission in West Africa says he is deeply worried about anything being done to fight the outbreak, saying it's not enough. Anthony Banbury told the Security Council from Ghana Tuesday that Ebola has a head start in the race against the disease. He said Ebola has to be stopped now or the world faces an unprecedented crisis. The World Health Organization says it expects 10,000 new cases a week by December 1st. WHO Assistant Director General Bruce Aylward says actual infections could be 1.5 times higher than reported in Guinea, 2 times higher in Sierra Leone, and 2.5 times higher in Liberia.
The disease continues to expand geographically. There are more districts, counties, and prefectures that actually have disease than there would have been a month ago, and it's happening in all 3 countries.
Aylward says the official death toll from the Ebola virus is now up to 4,447. The head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says any U.S. hospital with a confirmed case of Ebola will now get a CDC response team on the ground within hours. Fears are rising since a Texas nurse became the first person to contract Ebola on U.S. soil after she treated the Liberian man who was the first person to die of the virus in the United States. This is VOA News. President Obama says he is deeply concerned about Kobani, the key Syrian city the Kurdish fighters are struggling to keep from falling into Islamic State hands. Mr. Obama met with more than 20 foreign military chiefs at a U.S. Air Base outside Washington Tuesday to talk about the fight against the militants. Mr. Obama said the crisis in Kobani underscores the threat Islamic State poses to Syria and Iraq. He says coalition airstrikes against the militants will continue. Turkish airstrikes pounded Kurdish rebel bases Tuesday for the first time since the peace process began almost 2 years ago. Dorian Jones reports.
The air attacks against the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK, are reported to have occurred in the Hakkari province on Iraq's border. In a statement, the Turkish military said the action was in response to attacks on one of its bases. The airstrikes follow last week's violent protests by Kurds throughout Turkey over the government's refusal to allow military assistance for Syrian Kurds under siege by the Islamic State in the city of Kobani on Turkey's border. Dorian Jones, VOA News, Istanbul.
Yemen Shiite rebels have seized control of a strategic port city on the Red Sea hours after the president appointed a new prime minister in an effort to appease rebels and ease years of political turmoil. Security officials say Houthi rebels overran Hodeidah Tuesday, meeting little resistance. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is calling for the withdrawal of all foreign forces from eastern Ukraine. Following a meeting Tuesday in Paris with Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Secretary Kerry said the fighting must end between Ukrainian government forces and Russia-backed separatists around eastern Ukraine's Donetsk airport. Europe's largest economy, Germany, slashed its growth forecast amid fears Europe may be sinking back into recession. Lisa Bryant has details.
The 18-member Eurozone region, which only emerged from recession last year, risks being dragged down again, partly because of the economic problems of heavyweights France and Germany. On Tuesday, the German government sharply cut its growth forecast for this year and next, down to 1.2% in 2014, compared to its earlier estimate of 1.8%. It blamed troubles overseas for slowing its export-driven output. France's economy is also struggling, and it faces record unemployment. But budget-conscious Germany is at odds with France about how to stimulate growth. On Wednesday, the French government presents its 2015 draft budget to European officials. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
A cyclone that killed at least 24 people as it swept through eastern India continues to dump rain inland after being downgraded to a tropical depression. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.